Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. In today's video, I'll be using Spellbinders Make It Merry Special Edition Christmas Kit. This kit is not part of their monthly subscription and can be purchased individually. There are also some add-ons that go along with the kit. 2 different die sets, another ephemera pack, and also an embossing folder. And if you are interested in purchasing any of the products I use in this video, I do have links provided in the description box below. So let's go ahead and get started with card design number 1. I will be using some card sketches for inspiration. The first sketch is from Sketch Saturday. This is number 728. And if you are interested in any of the sketches I use in this video, I share all of that information on my coordinating blog post. That link is provided in the description box below, or you can simply head over to KristieMarcotte.com. For my first card, I selected the fun red car pattern paper with the tree on top for the background. For the narrow strip that goes across the card, I used a tone-on-tone pine branch design. Next, I'll add a rectangle frame die. I cut this out from some of the red cardstock that's included in the kit. To adhere it, I put some double-sided adhesive tape on the back. Now I'll bring in some of the die cut pieces. I have a little frame with the sentiment Magical Memories, and you're probably wondering why I'm adhering it upside down. Well, I will be covering up that sentiment with this adorable squirrel ephemera piece. For a sentiment, I'm adding Christmas wishes, and I did pop up the sentiment and also the squirrel image with some foam dimension. For a final finishing touch, I'll add a tiny tree tag in the upper right-hand corner. Before adhering it down, I did put a scrap cardstock piece on the lower portion where it goes off of the frame. So there is my finished card, and I did end up making a total of 4 using this card sketch. The other card features different pattern paper and ephemera. And I'll be doing the same thing for all of the card designs in this video. I wanted to make a bunch of Christmas cards. I'm also trying to focus on what's in the card kit along with the add-ons. Other than adhesive, extra cardstock, and dies, I'm trying not to bring in any other products. For card design number 2, the card sketch is from Sketch Saturday. This is number 725. I'm using this beautiful floral pattern paper for the background, layered it on some dark green cardstock. For the 2 narrow strips on the left side of the card, I'm using a light green tone-on-tone snowflake pattern paper. Next, I'll add a stitch circle die cut. The cardstock I use for this is one of the card bases that's included in the kit. It has a fun linen texture on one side. I'll adhere it in the lower left-hand corner using some glue. Now I'll add one of the floral die cut pieces, and this piece is part of the floral add-on die cut pack. For a sentiment, I'm adding 'Tis the Season, and I did pop it up using some foam dimension. One of the pattern papers that's included in the paper pad has either 4 or 5 different striped colors. I cut those apart so I could use the different colors. From the red strip, I'm cutting a small banner, and I'll adhere it in the upper right-hand corner. I first cut a fishtail on the bottom, then on the right side I'll cut it in slightly at an angle, flip it over, and do the same thing on the other side. Then I'll adhere it using some glue. For a final finishing touch, I'll add some of the red gem stickers that are included in the kit. So there is my finished card, and I made 4 using this design. The other 2 cards have holly paper for the background, and the image is a snow globe with some candy canes inside. The sentiments are some of the puffy stickers that are included in the kit. For card design number 3, the card sketch is from Sketch Saturday. This is number 591. The background paper features lots of tiny white presents with a gold foil bow. For the narrow strip that goes across the card, I'm using a pattern paper that has red Christmas sentiments. And for the strip on the right side of the card, have some red paper with teeny tiny white hearts. I'll layer this piece on some red cardstock, put my card front onto a card base. All of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. Now I'll bring in some of the die cut pieces. I have a sweet little pink bunny with a red present. I'll adhere her down using some glue. Then I'll add the sentiment Jingle All the Way. And I did pop up the sentiment with some foam dimension. I'm also adding 2 snowflakes, a light pink and a tan one, and I did pop them up with some foam dimension. For a final finishing touch, I'll add some of the gold puffy sticker stars on the inside of each of the snowflakes. They do have adhesive on the back, but I'm adding just a tiny drop of glue to make sure they stay in place. So there is my finished card, and I did make 4 using this design. The other card has Santa hats in the background, adding a couple of stars, the sentiment Joy to the World, and some red mittens with a white snowflake. For card design number 4, the card sketch is from Sweet Sunday. This is number 236. I selected this fun, colorful tree pattern paper for the background. I'm adding a strip of light green pattern paper. This is from the one design that had 4 or 5 different colored stripes. I cut out a scallop border using a die and some of the red pattern paper. Put some double-sided adhesive tape on the back to adhere it in place. I'll layer this piece on some dark green cardstock, put ATG tape on the back, and add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. The card kit does include a ton of solid colored cardstock, and you can even purchase the cardstock as an add-on. For my cards, I am using a lot of the cardstock that's included in the kit, but I'm also bringing in some additional cardstock from my stash since I love adding layers to my cards. Next, I'll add one of the sentiment die cut pieces. This is May the joy of the Christmas season fill your heart all year long. And I love the gold foil for the Christmas season words. I layered it on some green cardstock. Before adhering it down, I will put some scrap cardstock pieces above and below where it goes over the red border die cut piece. Then to finish off the card, I'll add 3 small snowflake die cut pieces. For the other 2 cards, using this card sketch, I am changing it up slightly, so I thought I would show some of the process. I've already assembled the background. For the image box, I'm putting it on the left side of the card instead of the right side. I'll be adding one of the floral die cut pieces. I'll glue that down. I'm also adding 2 of the single flower die cut pieces that match that floral design, and I did pop them up using some foam dimension. I'll add the red flower down first, then the white flower. I'll rotate the 2 flower pieces so they're lined up with the die cut image. For a sentiment, I'm using the large joyful word. It has this beautiful gold foil, and I did put foam dimension on the back. Part of the letter J will sit on the flowers, and I'll put some glue there. I'm also adding the sentiment Christmas greetings, and I did pop it up using some thin foam dimension. I'll adhere it underneath the word joyful. To finish off the card, I'll add some of the red sequins that are included in the kit. I'll add a small drop of Barely Art glue, use an embellishment wand to pick those up, then adhere it in place. So there is my finished card, and I did end up making a total of 4 using this design. Card sketches are great to use for inspiration. You can follow them exactly, or you can change them up to make it work for you. It was fun using the same card sketch and reversing the designs. Now moving on to card design number 5. For this card, I won't be using a card sketch. I selected another lovely floral pattern paper for the background, and I'm layering it first on some of the gold mirror cardstock that's included in the kit, and then again on some dark green cardstock. I'll put ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base. Next, I'll add a couple of oval die cuts. I use Spellbinders Essential Stylish Oval Die Set. I use some wood grain pattern paper for the smaller oval and the same dark green cardstock for the larger oval. I'll layer those 2 pieces together, put glue on the back, and add the oval onto the center of the card. For a sentiment, I'm using the gold puffy stickers that are included in the kit. I have 2 different words that I'll put together for joyful season. The puffy stickers do have adhesive on the back and it is very sticky, but I'll be adding a little bit of glue just to make sure they stay in place. I've noticed sometimes the puffy or chipboard stickers pop off later. I used a piercing tool to pop out the center of some of the letters since they wanted to hang out. I'll add the word season first, then I'll put the word joyful right above it. I'll remove this sentiment from the backing. I do have to pop out a few of those extra pieces. And I'll put just that little bit of glue on the back side and adhere it in place. And I am leaving a gap on the left side of the card to add a die cut piece. I selected a lovely floral image with colors that match the pattern paper, and I thought it would fit perfectly on the left side of the card. I probably should have adhered the ovals more on the right side, leaving a larger gap on the left side of the sentiment. But I'm determined to make it fit. I did put foam dimension on the back, and right now I'm flipping it around, trying to see if I can fit it on the card without covering up the sentiment or hanging off of the card too much. I end up trimming off part of the foliage next to the flower, since it would cover up part of the word joyful. And I did have some foam dimension on the back of that area, so I did need to move that just slightly so I could trim off that little foliage area. Then I'll adhere it on the left side of the card. And I was trying to see if I could add a shortened version of that foliage piece, but I didn't like how it looked. I'll also add some holly leaves and berries in the lower right hand corner, and I did pop that up with some foam dimension. For a final finishing touch, I'll add one of the gold puffy sticker stars in the center of the larger peach flower. So there is my finished card, and I did make 4 using this design. All 4 cards feature different sentiments. 2 of the cards have different pattern paper, and 1 card I used chipboard sentiments and images. Now moving on to card design number 6, and this is my favorite card design. I'm using 3 of the add-ons that go along with the Make It Merry card kit, the embossing folder, a floral die set, and also a sentiment die set. I embossed some of the light green cardstock that's included in the kit, and at the bottom of this piece, I'll add some white with gold polka dot pattern paper. I'll put adhesive on the back, layer this piece on some dark green cardstock. I'll be adding a narrow strip of some floral pattern paper, but first I'll layer it on some of the gold mirror cardstock. I'll flip this piece over, put some of the double-sided adhesive tape on the back side. The kit does include 1 roll of adhesive tape and also 2 sheets of foam squares. It is fairly thick foam dimension. In this video, I won't be using it on my cards. Before adhering the floral strip, I'll flip over my card panel, put ATG tape on the back, and add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Now I'll add the floral strip across the middle of the card. Next, I'll add a square die cut, and I use Spellbinders Postage Edge Square Die Set. I'll put glue on the back of the white piece and adhere it to the postage edge layer. And I will place an acrylic block on top for some added weight while the glue dries. Once that's ready, I'll put glue on the back and add my square die cut onto the card. Now I'll add the fun Make It Merry floral die cuts. There are lots of fun images on this set. I didn't use all of them. I have the larger flower, 2 of the smaller flowers. I'll put some yellow cardstock on the back of the smaller flowers. Put foam dimension on the back of those. I'll add 1 of the smaller flowers onto the larger flower and also put foam dimension on the back. Then I'll add both of the flowers in the lower left-hand corner of my image box. I'm not sure if the floral image is supposed to be a poinsettia or just another random flower, but I decided to make it a poinsettia and use the bright red color. Next, I'll add some of the pine branches, and I am trimming off the very bottom since I don't need them quite as long. I'll add 1 pine branch above the larger flower on the left side and the shorter pine branch underneath the smaller flower on the right side. I'll also add 1 of the foliage pieces with the 4 berries. I used a slightly lighter red cardstock for the berries. Some of the cardstock colors I use are included in the kit and others are from my stash. For the pine branches and the foliage piece, I used some green cardstock that has a pearlescent finish on it. I have 2 holly leaves. I'll put one on the left side of the larger flower and one on the right side of the smaller flower. Then I'll add the foliage piece with the berries on the right side. And finally 2 pine cones, and I'll tuck those underneath the large flower on the left side. For a sentiment, this is 'Tis the Season, and I use some of the gold mirror cardstock that's included in the kit. I put some double-sided adhesive tape on the back, cut out a second banner without the sentiment, adhered the 2 pieces together just for some extra stability. Then I'll put foam dimension on the back and adhere the sentiment above the floral image on the right side. Part of the sentiment will overlap some of the floral and foliage pieces. So there is my finished card, and I did make 4 using this design. And this is the only design where all 4 cards are basically the same. I love how this card turned out. The colors are so pretty. Now moving on to card design number 7, and this is my final card design. The card sketch is from OWH. This is number 161. For the background of my card, I'm using some green and white gingham pattern paper, and I'll layer it on some dark green cardstock. For the strip that goes across the card, it's a lighter green paper and it has Christmas sentiments in gold foil. And I'll layer that piece on some of the gold mirror cardstock that's included in the kit. I'll put some of the double-sided adhesive tape on the back and add that strip to my card. Then I'll put ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base. And I had just a little bit of the white card base showing at the bottom of the card, so I did go and trim that off. Instead of a traditional oval, I'm using Spellbinders Essential Stylish Oval die set. I cut out the white oval from one of the card bases and used the same dark green cardstock for the layering oval. Before adhering it to my card, I am putting a scrap cardstock piece just in the area where it goes off of the strip that goes across the card, and that'll help keep it nice and level. Now I'll bring in one of the die cut images and sentiment. The sentiment is merry and bright, and the image is an adorable little deer. On the very right side of the sentiment, I do have some thin foam dimension. I'll remove the release paper, put glue on the back of the rest of the sentiment piece, and adhere it at the bottom of the oval. And that very right side will go off of the oval, and that's why I have the foam dimension there. Then I'll put glue on the back of the fawn and have it standing right on top of that sentiment banner. For a final finishing touch, I'm using more of the gold star puffy stickers. I'll put 2 in the upper right hand corner. So there is my finished card, and I did make 4 using this design. 2 of the cards feature the sweet little deer, and the other 2 cards have the sentiment Merry Christmas and a floral die cut image. I also used 2 different pattern papers for the background, since at this point in the video I don't have any more duplicates of the same pattern paper. Now here's another look at the 28 cards I made using Spellbinders Make It Merry Special Edition Christmas Kit, along with some of the Make It Merry add-on products. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links provided in the description box below. This kit is packed full with lots of fun Christmas goodies. You'll be able to make tons of Christmas cards with it. And if you want to stretch the kit even more, you can grab some of the add-ons, or you can purchase the add-ons separately. I believe the paper pad is available, the floral ephemera, you can get the cardstock, plus the 2 die sets and embossing folder I used. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.